wicked ways. Well, maybe there's a start. Can we at least agree that there is something called wicked? Can we at least agree that there is something that is wrong? That's a place to start. If you are in search of a unifying force in our culture, can we at least agree that there is good and bad? Or is everything relative? For 16 years, I never once stood in front of a jury and tried to convince them that murder was wrong. Never once. I never tried to convince a jury that robbery was wrong, that discrimination was wrong, that mistreating children was wrong. So there is a source of unity. There is a code by which we all have agreed to live. What is the source of that code? Is it science? Is it morality? Is it God? What is the source of our unity? And if you are in that group that wants a better future than the present you are experiencing, if you don't like this disunity, if you don't like this sense of angst, if you don't like what seems to be forcing you to be detached and cynical about your country and your government, then you got to do something about it. You got to figure out what you believe, and more importantly, you got to figure out why you believe it. It is never enough in politics or any other sphere of persuasion to simply tell people what you believe. You have to tell them why you believe it. Do you believe in personal responsibility? Why? It's easy. Because if you're going to be free, there has to be a corresponding responsibility, right? If you're going to have the freedom of the press, there has to be a responsibility to print the truth. What do you believe? Do you believe in respect for the rule of law? Why? Because I'm an old prosecutor and I just like getting people in trouble? Because I want to see a bunch of new prisons built? Do you believe in respect for the rule of law? Can you tell anybody why? Do you think we ought to have a safety net in this country below which the indigent and the needy and the poor do not fall? Why do you believe that? What do you believe, and why do you believe it? Secondarily, you can be the smartest person in the world, and if you can't communicate what you believe, you're not going to be very successful. So you do need a message, and that message better be why you believe what you believe, but you also need a very effective manner or method of communication. In other words, you need to learn how to persuade. How do you persuade in life? Facts, authenticity, sincerity, credibility. You want to persuade, change people's minds to come around to your way of thinking on whatever issue it is, and I don't care about your politics. They're none of my business. You can have whatever politics you want. But I will tell you what doesn't work: insulting people. Insulting people does not work if your objective is to persuade. I am terrified of my wife, so I have never tried to insult her into changing her mind, but I have seen plenty of my friends try it, and it does not work. So when I see a bumper sticker that says, "Don't blame me, I didn't vote for the idiot," do you think that's persuasive? Yeah, maybe I possibly made a mistake because this person called me an idiot. Life doesn't work that way. You know what happens when you're insulted? You become even more dogmatic in holding your incorrect belief than you were before you were insulted. So if your goal is to persuade, you shouldn't be insulting people. Let me tell you what else doesn't work. Hypocrisy. Telling other people how to live their lives, but you live your life a different way. Telling people that they ought to be doing X while you're doing Y. And trust me, I work in a line of work where I see a lot of it. And yes, we're all hypocrites to a certain extent, every one of us. But there are different gradations of hypocrisy. You want to persuade people? Hypocrisy doesn't work. Insults don't work. What does work? A relationship. The person has to know that you care about them. They have to know that you care about them. You want to persuade people? Do you speak in hopeful terms? Do you communicate hope? Are they convinced that you have their best interest at mind? To the people that you interact with and you're trying to persuade, do you communicate hope? Do they think you care about them? So you got a message. You got a manner of communicating. All you need is a messenger, right? You're just waiting on whoever that is. If you were waiting around for another Ronald Reagan or another Martin Luther King Jr. or another Abraham Lincoln, you are going to have a long, miserable wait. It's not going to happen. If you're waiting on a knight or knightess to ride in on a white horse and change whatever you think ails our country, or your school, or your community, or your family, it's not going to happen. You know who the messenger is? It's you.